Good afternoon, everybody. It is now 4 o'clock, and we are going to go ahead and kick off our 3D modeling question and answer session with our NASA intern, new NASA intern. This is her first week, so I hope that you will join me in giving her a warm welcome over our Blackboard Collaborate. If you look in the participant window, there's a little face underneath your name where you can pick an applause little icon, and some applause will show up underneath your name. So please join me in welcoming our intern, Kat. My name is Alicia Batteroni-Cortez, and I am one of 2 project managers for NASA Community College Aerospace Scholars. And Kayla Leckler is our other project manager. So I don't know if you want to say hey in the chat window or turn your mic on and say hello, Kayla.
Hi everyone, hope you can hear me, and I hope that this session is helpful for all of you as you get ready to turn in your final project.
So before we let you ask your questions of Kat, and I see that many of you have already got your hand raised, so you must have attended our web chats with our subject matter experts, so you kind of know how that goes. We'll have you raise your hand and call on you in order in which your hand is raised. But before we get to talking specifically about 3D modeling, I just wanted to give a quick overview of this part of the final project and make sure that you're aware of the resources that are available to you through the Moodle course. So what I'm going to do right now is just take you there right now. And so in a minute or so, you should see on your screen the section of the Moodle course that is the final project section. And so this has in it things that will help you to complete your final project and meet all the requirements so that you get a good score. So the first thing is just a link to this right now. The second thing under that is a description of what you should be putting into your final project. And then we have a 3D model of a rover rubric and the mission rubric proposal. And so all of these things, these 2 rubrics are really important because this is what your instructional assistants are going to use to give you your points on your final project. So if you haven't already downloaded these and printed them off, I would do that. And really guide your project along these rubrics because that's exactly what they're going to use to give you their points for that. The other thing, if you have not had a chance to look at this video, there is a link to the 3D software tutorial training from a previous session of NCAS that steps you through basic operations in Autodesk 123 Design and in SketchUp. And so if you're looking for kind of a basic introduction as it relates to this course using those 2 pieces of software, that's where I would go. There's also some discussion forums that I have to say haven't really been super active, so I'm not sure those would be particularly helpful to you now, but they're available to have asynchronous discussions with other students who are using these. Okay, so having said that, to go back, let's see if I can close this out, go back to our main screen here. I know many of you are very nervous about this piece of the project, especially those of you that have 0 3D modeling experience. So one of the things that I want to reassure you is that the 3D model itself is really just a portion of the grade of that final project. Your whole plan is a big piece of it, and the 3D model is not just the representation that you can make in the software, but it's also the explanation that goes with it. So someone asked in the chat window before we started, does it have to be super detailed? And the answer is no. What we're really looking for is that you have attempted to communicate a visual representation of your idea in a 3D software program. So what we're looking for is not the most sophisticated design, but something that shows you made your best effort, that the pieces are relatively in proportion to one another, and they're labeled. And then the rest of your 3D model design is also explanations. So when you look at the rubric, you have to explain each of the 7 specifications and explain how they relate to the rover and to the mission. And that has just as much weight as the actual rover itself. So I hope that that helps allay some of your fears. And feel free to ask more questions about kind of general assignment requirements, but we're going to go ahead and jump to questions and give Kat a chance to introduce herself, tell you a little bit about what she's studying and what her background is, and then we'll go to questions. Okay, so Kat, I'm going to turn it over to you. Go ahead and click the talk button to turn your mic on.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Okay, great. Well, I am an intern over here in the Office of Education, and this is, as Alicia said, this is only my second week over here. So, but I am studying, I'm getting my master's degree in digital media studies at the University of Houston Clear Lake. I've taken a 3D modeling and 3D animation course, and I really love the modeling portion of it. So I'm here to help you guys in any way I can.
Okay, thanks, Kat. I think we're going to go ahead and jump to the first person in the line. It looks like Boyd is away, so Eduardo, you would be the first person. You can either type your question in the chat window, or you can push the talk button to use your mic. Eduardo, are you there? Okay, I think we'll go ahead to person number 3 in line, Victoria. And Victoria's question, Kat, is when we save our 123D design files and upload them for grading, will the materials also be saved? And Kat, don't forget to push your talk button to turn your mic back on.
So the materials should be saved along with your project. And so whenever you upload your project, you should be uploading everything in a single folder. And that'll make certain that any of the materials, if they're not the default materials that you're using, are in that folder, and that should all be saved together in the project folder.
Now, if you're talking, Victoria, about when you upload them to Moodle to submit them, for, to submit your final project, what we really want you to do is to take screenshots of your design in the software program as when you have it up, and paste those into a Word document. And so there will be a Word document with screenshots of your design and then the text that provides the explanation of the description of each of the pieces. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and see if Jacqueline, do you have a question? Okay, and the question is, when trying to duplicate a design we have made on SketchUp Pro, what should we do? More specifically, I'm having trouble duplicating a wheel, which is necessary for making all my wheels the same size. And Kat, don't forget to hit your mic button to talk.
Okay, so I am not that familiar with SketchUp Pro. I actually just downloaded the SketchUp free version. But you should be able to copy and paste the parts. I'm trying to do it right now in SketchUp. I'm trying to make something really fast and seeing if I can do the same thing.
So it looks like Katya and Victoria both say there is a way, and Jacqueline is saying that doesn't work for her. So Jacqueline, there's a couple of comments in the chat window there.
When you say that you're unable to copy just the one wheel, are you, whenever you select the wheel, is it highlighting the wheel itself, or is it highlighting other objects? It might be grouped together with other objects. So if you have everything grouped and you want just one portion of it to be copied, then you need to make certain that you ungroup everything.
Okay, Kat, so the question is, how do they ungroup?
Unattach first. Okay. Okay, I am trying to build a couple of items in Google SketchUp first, and then so that I can group them, and then I can show you how to ungroup. It'll just take me one moment.
Okay, so we'll maybe let the next person get their question ready while you are doing that. And Katya has a great YouTube channel that she posted in the chat window for you to check out, Jacqueline. And okay, so let's see if Chandra, do you have a question? You can either type it in the chat window, or if you have a mic, you can press the talk button. Okay, question is, when the whole project is submitted, is it supposed to be in a paper like you would do for English, for example, or just abstract, timeline, page, etc.? Good question. And so what we're looking for is 2 submissions here, and both would be Word documents, just like you're saying, like what you would submit for an English paper. And so the first document would be your mission proposal, your Mars mission proposal. And that's going to have your abstract, your timeline, your personnel, and your outreach. So those sections could be just different section headings in one document. And then the second piece that you would submit is your rover. So that would be another Word document that has screenshots of your 3D model design from that software program. And then it would also contain your explanation of each specification of your rover. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question, Chandra. And Liz has found a nice, okay, great, Chandra. Liz has posted some directions there for ungrouping in SketchUp. So Jacqueline, you might want to give that a try. And we'll check in and see how Kat is coming along with her quick attempt. And again, just go ahead and click your talk button and turn your mic on, Kat.
Okay, I just made a couple of quick boxes in SketchUp, and I'm going to share my SketchUp real fast. Okay, so as you can see, there's 2 boxes right next to the man that looks like Stan Lee. And if I click on one, we have both of them highlighted. That means they're grouped. And if you go to Edit, Undo Group, then that'll take the grouping off, and you can just highlight. Select one object, and then you'll be able to copy and paste that now. Does that help?
That looked like, that would say 3 exclamation point yes. So I'm guessing that was very helpful. Thank you, Kat. All right, so so Michael looks like he's having trouble with, I'm not sure, bad comm. Are you not able to hear Michael? I don't know if he can, he can't hear me ask that question. So let's check and see if Akshay has a question. And again, you can either, oh, there it is. So for the instrumentation package, computer navigation and program navigation, what type of components can be put on the rover to satisfy this criteria? And so that is largely up to you, and that is really kind of up to your creativity. I would recommend looking at some of the existing rover model designs, which you can find on nasa.gov and probably in the Moodle section as well. But like program navigation, they may not actually look like something. It may be, those elements may be parts of the software that are on board, but where would that, where would those things be physically located in the rover? Okay, next we're going to see if Mike is able to communicate at all. Let's see, because he's next in line. We are recording the session, so we will make this recording available afterwards. So it should be posted to the Moodle section sometime tomorrow. Okay. Michael Miranda, are you able to hear? Do you have a question? He's got a bit of an audio delay. So we'll circle back to Michael, and let's go on to C. Julich. Do you have a question? Okay, let's go on to Betsy Ramirez. Okay, thanks. We'll put your hand down. All right, Betsy Ramirez, do you have a question? Okay, let's go on to Ahmed. Okay, so I see Betsy did finally get in there. Who will be grading our final project? Your instructional assistant will be the one who's doing the grading. And to the next question, are we going to resubmit the timeline, abstract, and so on with 3D model? Furthermore, I haven't received any feedback from my instructor since you submitted. And okay, so multi-part question. So Ahmed, yes, you will resubmit that. The idea is that you can make improvements on it based on the feedback, but since you have not received any, that would make it difficult for you. So I'm going to make sure that somebody follows up with you about that. And when did you submit that? Was it recently, or have you had it in there since the deadlines? By the due time. Okay. So I apologize. You should have received feedback by now. Thank you for bringing it to our attention, and we will follow up and try and get you that within the next 24 hours. To answer your other questions, what are the name of some simple sketch programs? The two that we recommend because they're free downloads are Autodesk 123 Design and SketchUp. Okay. All right, so moving right along. Diana, do you have any questions? Okay. How about Ivan? All right, Ivan, you can either type it in the chat window or press your talk button. And we'll move on to the next one. And hopefully we'll hear back from Ivan or circle back. Anton, questions? You can type them in the chat window or click your talk button. Okay. All right, we have, what is the best way to attach parts that are in separate files, such as a wheel to suspension? And I'm going to let Kat handle that one, and don't forget to turn your talk button on.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to clarify what you mean by separate files. Okay, so I don't know if you can import them. I know on the full version of Autodesk you can import items. What software system are you using? And I can try to do it real fast. Autodesk, okay. Let me try to create something real fast and see if I can import. I think you might be able to just copy and paste from one file to another. But let me create something really fast. It'll just be one moment.
Okay, we'll go on to the next question while you're doing that. And so, Heidi, do you have a question for us? Okay, your IA did not give you any feedback either. However, you emailed Kathy Graves and she helped you with the feedback. Okay, you're a little worried about your final project not being graded in time. Oh, okay. So your project will get graded in time. And if your instructor somehow misses a deadline, it is not your fault and you will not be penalized about that in any way. Our goal is to have selections made to have all the final projects graded and look at those grades to pick the top students and to have that to you by the end of the day on February 24th, I believe. So that should be Tuesday. You're welcome. Okay, and let's see. Pisol. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm terribly sorry.
You pronounced the first time right.
Pisol. Okay. So go ahead with your question.
My question to you would be for the rover 3D rover models. I understand that you need to label parts and then you need to have explanation of the specifications. And I was wondering, would you recommend to have the explanations on like a separate page, or should be the labels and the explanation on the same page, explaining each specification?
So what we recommend is that you do it all in like a Word document. So what you would do to include your rover design in that is to take a screenshot from the software program that you're using and insert it into a Word doc. That way all of your text and your writing can be done in a word processor rather than trying to put lengthy descriptions into a 3D modeling program where they don't really belong.
I see. Okay. I cannot like upload anything on this program to show you what I'm doing.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is there any possibility I can upload like a piece of my project to show on here, or?
You mean like to show right now in the session?
Yes.
You can. I need to give you those permissions, so just give me a second here. So if you have it open on your desktop and you look to the top of the whiteboard in the middle, there's three icons. There's one with the little pencil making a red squiggly line, and then there's two rectangles. If you push that middle one, that will let you do application sharing, and it should give you a box to choose from with your whatever program you want everyone to see, and everyone will be able to see it.
That's good.
Okay, and while we are waiting for Pascal to figure that out, oh wait, it looks like it's coming. So what it'll do is put a yellow box around whatever's in the yellow box is what we all can see.
Yellow box. Oh, okay. Ah. Can you see the Microsoft application?
Yes.
Okay, so basically this is the robotic mechanical arms, and I have my specification right on the bottom of it. Would you recommend that, or would you recommend having the specification, like, you know, the length, the capability and stuff on a separate page?
So I would say if it took a lot of time to get that text box in there and to format it properly, that's time you don't have to spend. But you could just take a screenshot of the image, insert it into the Word doc, and then, like I said, kind of do the writing in what's a word processor. Now, if that was fairly easy to do and that you feel more comfortable doing it that way, because then each part goes with its text, then that's up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Kat says she has an answer for Anton's question, so we are going to go ahead and turn it back over to Kat.
Okay, you should all now be able to see the Autodesk with a circle in it, just a simple sphere. And Anton, if you hover over the design menu and you insert, then you can browse to where you have your files located. And I have another box that I inserted. And so everything in that file will be copied over and inserted into the new file.
Okay, do you want to just do that one more time, Kat? Like do that a second time?
Okay, so again, you just hover over the menu and you insert, go to wherever you have your files saved, and then you open it up. So again, it'll everything in the first file that you selected will be inserted in. So as you can see, I have a couple of other elements into here. Inserted into the new one with the original circle and sphere.
Okay, so Pasal's sharing a student account of Autodesk. Do you want to come back on the mic and just explain that for a sec for everybody? And you could even do a, I mean, people can click on that link and go to it and look at it as well.
Yeah, anybody would like to know any questions?
So with Autodesk, they do have an educator program where if you click on the link that Pascal sent, then you can actually receive any of their the Autodesk suite for educational use for free. For I actually thought it was 3 years, not 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And whenever you register your software, you have to put in your whenever you are expected to graduate, and whenever you have the 3D item created and you do the screenshots, then it will have a watermark logo on it. That's the only difference between the education version and the fully paid pro version, is that whenever you do any of the screenshots, then it will have that watermark on it. But otherwise, it's the full version of Autodesk.
Okay, so I think we'll go to our next question. Boyd, number 2, do you have a question? Looks like the question is, what measurements are expected on the rover? I saw measurements and specifications are expected. Yes, and so if you go to the rubric, there's a section about the graphic model, and so we want accurate dimensions and appropriate size for all 7 specifications. So each item should have, your rover as a whole should have specifications on it. Or should have its dimensions on it. And if you can give a sense of what each of the parts of your rover, their relative size as well. Okay, and let's go ahead and see, it looks like Jacqueline has another question. And I see, what you're saying, just size dimensions? What other kind of dimensions are you thinking? And Jacqueline's question is, how do you change the dimensions of an object? In other words, scale it down to make it smaller. And so we'll see if Kat can answer that one.
What software are you using? Are you using SketchUp or Autodesk? Okay. So both actually allow you to scale items, and I'm about to share SketchUp again. Okay, so whenever you select an item, like say I want to select that box, then using the scale, oh, there it is. So using the scale tool, you can stretch it out and maneuver it into any other dimensions that you want. You can either look at it by hand whenever you just select an edge or a face and maneuver your mouse around, or if you want it to be exact, then whenever you select it, then you can start typing. The first dimension will be, I believe, your x-axis, and you can in the lower left corner, or sorry, the lower right corner, you'll see the green and blue scale, along with numbers that are shifting and moving whenever I'm moving this, whenever I'm moving the mouse. And those are your dimensions. So if you want it to be 10 inches, sorry, 10 inches, it's not allowing me to do the inches part. I believe I have this in feet. So, so 10 feet by 2 feet, and hit enter, then that automatically changes your dimensions of your box to 10 feet by 2 feet wide. The height, you actually have to click on the height and shift it. So you'll notice that there are the y-axis corresponds with the blue line. The x-axis, I believe, corresponds with the red line, and then the green line, the depth, is corresponds with the z-axis. So that's how you change the dimensions of a box that you have already created. It's the same for Same principle for any shape.
Jacqueline is also wondering how to get Stanley back. I'm not certain how to get him back. He's not a requirement of your sketch. Okay, so Boyd is asking, so I need to write about each part in the rubric in a Word document. And yes, so to reiterate, we expect that you take screenshots of your rover from your software program and paste them or insert them into a Word document where you would then provide a couple of paragraphs that explain what each of the specifications does on your rover and what they're supposed to, how they make your rover complete the mission. Okay, and do we have another question from Akshay? And the question is, can we use different parts from existing rover models if we cite the different models used? So if you are asking, like, oh, I want to have like a rat tool, like a rock abrasion tool on mine, and that's a part that's already on Spirit, can I still use it? And the answer is yes. But you need to you need to explain why it's important to the scientific objectives of your mission. Now, if you're talking about like somehow you have acquired a 3D, model of something, you can't just sort of copy that and paste. I don't even know how you would do that, but we do want your 3D design to be your creation. Hopefully that answers your question. And so let's go and see if Jason has a question. You can either type it in the chat window or click your talk button. Jason, are you there? I don't see Jason typing or miking, so his hand just might be raised because he joined the session. So let's go to Chandra. So Chandra's question is dimensions by piece and every piece. What about the size of tires or dimensions of the whole rover or both? Okay, so dimensions is definitely you want dimensions for your whole rover, and like the size of your tires, for example, that would be good to show like the tire would have a diameter of to give us a sense of that, and maybe the width of the tire. And yes, if you can provide a general, and it doesn't have to be like if you have a robotic arm, for example. I would do the length of the whole arm as opposed to its components. And Akshay, so you're saying that like there's different 3D models available on Google SketchUp for you to pull from. I would really, like I said, I really encourage you to try and create those on your own as opposed to importing something someone else designed in a model that is available to you. And I just want to, so I know that we had Pascal shared his example rover, which was very good and maybe scared a few of you, but I'm just going to pull up on the screen right now. And I posted this in the NCAS Cafe already, so some of you may have seen this, but I want to show you something that's maybe a little less detailed, but still this is student work that was submitted in a previous session of NCAS, and this person was selected and came to Johnson Space Center. So let me just see if I can quickly do a desktop share and make you feel less concerned about how sophisticated your model design is, because as I mentioned, we're really concerned less about how sophisticated the actual design is, and we're more concerned with you making an attendance here and making sure that you have good descriptions of your parts and why they're there. So let me just got this pulled up on my screen, so I'm going to do a quick desktop share. And hopefully you can see that this is not super detailed. It really is just sort of basic shapes of parts. And this student provided a variety of angles at which we're able to view the rover, thus showing how it's very 3D. Okay, I'm going to scroll a little bit more, get a better example here. So you can see this note does not have anywhere near the detail that this else had, but yet this person still passed and got invited to a workshop. So I hope that helps you feel a little less nervous about it. And no one's making any comments in the chat window, so I can't. Okay, good. It helped Katya, so that's good. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, and we can get back to doing some questions. All right. And yes, Pascal, you can say something. Go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I shouldn't have shown mine, but I just want to say that I barely have any experience doing the 3D thing. I just got informed by the program from a friend of mine, so anybody can do it. You guys can do it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for the word of encouragement. That's good. Okay, so let's see. I think next in line for the questions is just scrolling back up to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, I do see a quick question about this being a group project, and that is a fantastic question, but it is not a group project. It is an individual effort. And okay, let's go to see if Ahmed has another question. Question is, can I use the same components technology of the Curiosity rover for the project? In addition, how can I email or message my instructor? Okay, so similar to what I said before, if you can use similar components and similar technology from existing rovers. What we don't want you to do is just recreate the Curiosity rover. You can certainly borrow from that, but we're looking for like the next Mars mission, and so obviously that's a rover that's currently operating on Mars. And here at NASA, we're already planning ahead. We're looking at what that rover does, and we're trying to make a better rover. So we're working on Mars 2020, excuse me, which will be a bigger, better rover. Sorry for the gap there. Had to cough. All right, so let's move on to Victoria. What is your question, Victoria? If we have already finished our rover, but we now realize it's in the wrong units, such as centimeters, how do we change it to meters? I'm using Autodesk. Kat, do you want to weigh in on that?
So I am trying to do that myself. I think it's pretty easy. Are you using Autodesk the free version or Autodesk the Pro? Free? Okay. So in the lower right-hand corner, you should have units, and you should be able to select centimeters, millimeters, and inches. I don't know if it'll go up to a larger size, but as long as it's proportional, then the units shouldn't matter so much, I don't think. But that would be an Alicia or Kayla call.
There's a preference usually in science classrooms and engineering classrooms for metric, but I guess it doesn't really matter what units you use as long as they're consistent throughout your whole project. And that you're clear about what units they are. NASA has a few sad stories of trying to work with international partners in which we had English and metric units not playing well together, and a lack of communication resulting in catastrophic mission failures. So we definitely label your units. Okay, I believe we can go to Jacqueline. Jacqueline, you have a question?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead with your question, Jacqueline. Oh, but you turn your mic back off. You'll have to, oh, okay.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you guys could hear me or not, sorry. So my abstract, I included a drone that I planned on sending to Mars with my rover. Now, I was wondering if you want my rover model, 3D model, to include that drone on it.
That is entirely up to you. Since what we asked for was your rover model, I would put your effort first into that, and then if you have time to do the drone, then that would be great. But definitely focus on the project requirements first, and then any extras or add-ons second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and our next question is Michael Johnson. Okay, this sounds like a cat question. How do you model a dish in SketchUp? Maybe I missed something. Do the dimensions have to be metric? If so, how do I change that in SketchUp?
So whenever you say dish, are you just trying to do like a like half a sphere? More like a satellite? Okay. Let me experiment on that really fast. I have an idea of how to do that, but since I haven't done that in SketchUp before, let me experiment on it, and then I can come by and I'll show you an example of how to do that.
Okay, so we'll let you go do that, and we'll see what question Ivan has, and we'll come back to Michael. Ivan, do you have a question? Okay, general question. Should I resubmit the last version of my personnel and outreach plan and abstract and timeline on the module 2 and 3, or do I only need to submit these last versions? So Ivan, my first question to you is, did you receive comments from your instructional assistant on those pieces on the module 2 and 3? Yes, okay. So what we want, the reason that we asked you to turn those in early was to give you an opportunity to incorporate any of that feedback into your final project. And so even if you're not going to change anything, the place that you're going to submit that is different than where you did for the module 2 and 3. And so yes, you are going to resubmit, but you have a chance to make improvements or changes to it based on your instructional assistant's feedback. So I hope that makes sense. And just to clarify, for turning things in, you have the ability to turn in 2 separate documents because there's 2 separate rubrics. that your instructional assistants will be using to grade your work. So the first document would be your mission proposal, and that would include those 4 parts that Ivan just asked about. And then the second piece would be your digital model of your rover, and so that would include screenshots from your software program plus labels in those screenshots, and then text explanation of all 7 of your specifications and dimensions. So Anton, the feedback you got wasn't really specific, it sounds like. So if you, let's see here, if you can let us know what your last name is, we can follow up and see if we can get some more specific. Okay, Anton Williams. Okay. So I will see. Let me look into that, Anton, and see if we can get you a little more specific feedback. Okay. So let's. I'm assuming Kat will let us know when she's ready to talk about what she's working on.
Right. I actually just added a link to how to create a bowl or a dome from the SketchUp. And so, because that's where I was going to go to find out how to do it.
So there you go, Michael, a link to fully describe how to do that.
Mm-hmm. To answer the question regarding how do you start in metric or in meters in SketchUp, and fortunately can't show you how to do that in Blackboard because the program has to be open first. But whenever you first open up SketchUp, it asks you to choose a template, and whenever you choose the template, then you have different versions, and there's several with meters or with feet and inches. So you select whichever one that you want. And then you can press the Start Using SketchUp button, and you'll be in meters.
Kat, did you say that she was actually, did you answer the Autodesk part? That she was talking about Autodesk. Your mic's not on.
Sorry, what was the Autodesk question?
I think Chandra was asking about that, about the units in Autodesk versus SketchUp.
Okay. Starting in meters. You know, let me research that one because I don't know if you can do that with the free version of Autodesk.
Okay, so let's go to our next question from Akshay. Yes, the IAs will be the ones who are grading your project. Okay. How about Nancy? Do you have a question? You can either type your question in the chat window or press the talk button to turn your mic on. Oh, she's gone away. Okay, let's go to Jason then. Jason, do you have a question? Okay, you can either, oh, she's typing. Okay, her hand went down. Jason, you can type it in the chat window, or you can click your talk button to turn your mic on.
You can actually hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, I was wondering, like some of the equipment that's already, orbiting Mars, or that's already in use, like the Odyssey. Could we somehow like use that, you know, as you know, I guess to help, you know, serve our mission? Is there any way we could, like, would that be okay? You gotta excuse me. I'm just read it.
So I think what you're asking is, can your mission sort of collaborate with an existing mission?
No, more so, like if Odyssey, like if it was, you know, if it's orbiting and maybe there was something that I wanted to pinpoint and say like my rover, I didn't know whether it was a hazard or something, and it was just like a spot of interest. Could I somehow, like, you know, be able to, I guess, use Odyssey as sort of like a pinpoint, or, you know, just use some of the other features on there?
So like
help,
so you're saying like an instrument or something that another Mars robotic explorer uses, are you able to use a similar kind of instrument on your design?
No, I don't mean like implementing on my design. I mean more like, I guess, like it being interfaced with it. So like if, so like I know we can use, we have a high band and a low band. I'm not quite sure, but like with the telecommunications, if I could somehow, some way, have my rover just you know, be interacting with Odyssey, and somehow use some of the features on there as opposed to you know, adding what I would. I'm sorry, I'm not expressing this so well.
No, I think I get what you're saying now. So you're basically wanting to, if your mission can interact with another existing mission and kind of use some of its.
And I was even, like, you know, thinking about curiosity. I mean, even if it's some of the data that you know, like from a particular site that they surveyed, that, you know, and maybe I could be like a few kilometers away, and I might, you know, want to look and be able to cross-examine the samples or something to see if, you know, they you know, came from where, you know, curiosity is already located.
Yes, I think that would absolutely be acceptable.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Victoria, do you have a question? Okay, and this is a Kat question. Can you uncombine in Autodesk?
Do you mean ungroup or combine? You've been trying to split a solid? There is a split solid tool in Autodesk Design, but I don't know if it would keep the two objects that you had already, the two objects that you had tried initially to combine. I don't know if they would be the same. I used a square to split it. Okay, I'm trying out the split tool right now. Give me a couple of minutes to play around with it because it is not doing what I want it to do. And
well, yeah, we'll come back to that. I think that every student in the room right now would agree, yes, it's not doing what I want it to do. So she put a little bit more explanation there in the chat window for you, Kat. But while we wait for you to investigate, let's go to Katya's question. I did not pay so much attention to the dimensions, but just wanted to make sure that they looked relatively accurate. That is okay, but you definitely want the pieces, the dimensions of the pieces, not to be so different from one another that they wouldn't actually go together in a model. Sure, you can share a pic. Let me give you the right to do that. And so what you'll do is you need to have it open on your desktop first, and then you will go to the top of the whiteboard, and there's a button in the middle called Application Sharing. So you'll click that, and it will bring you up a list of things that you can share. And it'll take a minute to render on everybody else's screen, but we should be able to see whatever is inside the yellow box. And you may need to slide that over to the right. There we go. Okay, so that to me looks very proportional. The pieces all look like they go together. Okay. Okay. All right. So, do you have any other questions, Katya? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and go to Chandra then. Okay, a little off topic, but you were wondering what happens or what opportunities are there for us after we go to NASA, like we go to the workshop, then what? So that is a great question, Chandra. We really see this program as kind of a foot in the door to NASA. And so if you get invited to a workshop and you come here, you're going to meet all kinds of people who work here. You're going to meet a lot of other students who have similar interests to you. And we're going to invite some of the people who work on other education projects here at Johnson Space Center or whatever center that you go to. We're going to talk to you about other opportunities that they have. So for example, if you were to come to Johnson Space Center, we would have our internships and fellowships folks come talk to you about how to apply for an internship. There may be other programs, like for example, if you were to go to one of our California centers, JPL is not hosting a workshop in this upcoming spring session, but they do have, some centers have center-specific education programs that you might be eligible for. And so that's why we try and send you into geographically the center that's closest to you, so that if they do have opportunities like that, it's a little bit more within the reach. And you know, you can then say in your applications and on your resumes that you're a NASA Aerospace Scholar. And if you come to our workshop, then you can say that you have experience in working on a NASA project, working in a team. And it's really a great piece to be able to put on your resume and to talk about that experience when you're applying for other opportunities, even if they're not NASA opportunities. You may find that there's other internships or co-op type opportunities through your school that having that NASA on your resume and to be able to talk about your NASA affiliation, say that, you know, I'm a NASA scholar, definitely carries some weight with it. Okay, so good question. Thanks for asking. Let's go to David and see if he has a question. Okay, another little off topic. For the formatting of the final project, is there a specific format that needs to be used? I would know you do not need to go with a specific format, but if you do MLA or do APA, I would stick with that format so it's consistent throughout your whole document. Okay, you're welcome. And let's go to Michael. Sorry, I'm just chuckling at Chandra's. Bye, Chandra. So where can you find the typical weight and or densities of components such as computer hardware, etc.? That is a good question. And I don't know of any off the top of my head, but if anyone does, or has found anything like that, do pop something in the chat window. It might take a little bit of research, internet research for that. And Jason seems like he might have something, so we'll wait and see. We have passed our 5 o'clock hour here, so I think we're going to try and get to Emily's question, to Myra's question, follow back up with Victoria's question, and then we will probably close things up for the evening. And so Jason says mars.nasa.gov, you may be able to find something, Michael. And I would just monitor the chat window to see if anybody has some additional thoughts on that one. And let's go to see if Emily has a question. Yes, there is a certain number that will get to the workshop. This spring, we have expanded to the biggest we've ever been, and so we have a minimum of 240 slots for workshops. So there will be 6 different workshops taking place between March and May. And the way that we decide who gets an invitation is we look at the top scores. So we'll take the top 240 students out of everyone who submits a final project. Okay, and Myra, do you have a question? That was your question too, okay. So let's check back in with Kat and see how she's doing coming along with the answer to Victoria's question. And Heidi, how many of you are there? There's about 370 of you in the spring session.
Okay, I just posted some YouTube channels on how to add and subtract solids in Autodesk. And hoping that this will help. And there's also one on splitting solids that I'm about to post.
Okay, thank you, Kat. All right, so I believe that was our last question. And what we are going to do, as I mentioned, we are recording this, so we'll go ahead and post a recording of the chat. Hopefully that'll be up by tomorrow morning, and we may even do a chat transcript, so the links and things like that. I'm not sure if those come over on the recordings or not, so we'll try and get a list of those for you to get together for you to post with that as well. So I just want to wish everybody the best of luck as we close in on the last few days of our spring session. We're really impressed with the quality of questions and the number of people attending these sessions and participating, and so we are super excited to see your final submissions. And I will see if Kayla or Kat have anything else they want to say before we sign off.
All I wanted to say is good luck, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your all's final projects and hopefully here at one of the centers later this spring.
All right, so we will go ahead and give Kat another virtual round of applause for being so awesome and answering so many questions in such a short time. And everybody have a great evening.